welcome to another backstage interview at the Metals Investor Forum. I'm joined right now by Nick Appleyard of TriStar Gold. TriStar is another company that perhaps you hadn't heard about before the Metals Investor Forum, or perhaps you had, but TriStar is a newer addition to the Maven portfolio. And I came across it because I was looking for stocks that offered that already had fundamental value well in hand. And I think TriStar is a really good example of this. There's a fundamental value component that's clearly defined through a preliminary economic assessment and initial mine plan that's really robust. And as Nick will tell us in a moment, I'm sure that's being advanced to the next level in a study that will be out soon that I think will attract some attention because it will be, I think, even better than the initial plan. And then there's opportunity on top of that from the exploration side of things, which is what I love. You get the exploration, but you get this carry of defined value. So Nick, tell us about the project and about the mine plan as it is and what you're doing to take that to the next level right now.
Okay, so the project as it is now, it's we've got total 1.3 million ounces inferred, 700,000 ounces indicated that we did the PEA on just Esperanza South, just one sort of corner of the project. And so the plan is now to take that corner through the de-risking process of, through the PFS, which we'll have done fairly soon, and push that towards production as quick as possible. Meanwhile, exploring the rest of the asset, because there's still a lot more exposure, a lot more upside here to bring to the public,
And so the PEA that you're now advancing to the next level, it's a really strong study in itself, strong enough that Royal Gold came in and bought a royalty is a better way to say it, on the asset, which provided for you the funding to do this de-risking and taking it to the next level. So tell us about the PEA, sort of the numbers, the scale, the kind of geology, and how you think that might change for better or worse as you go to the more engineered version.
Okay, yeah. So the project at PaleoPlaza, and I think as to sum it up the simplest thing for me is it's simple and it's got scale. So the PaleoPlaza, it's sediment hosted gold, very ancient, 2 billion year old rocks, very clean. It's effectively coarse sand, quartz cobbles, and gold grains. And that allows us, we published our MET results the other day. I think the average 98% recovery. So it's fantastic, and so the PEA produced 1.1 million ounces of gold over about just under 8-year mine life, 7.5-year mine life, I believe it was, using 1250 gold, using a 3.8 to 1 exchange ratio, which is now gone to 5.3, so it's moved in our favor. And post-tax IRR was 43%. The NPVs were huge, and and if you start putting in today's prices, it actually goes off of any sensitivity charts that we've done, so it becomes ridiculous. But what I really like about it, because I sort of consider myself and my team mine developers, mine de-riskers, is it's like simple and there's no red flags waving. It's not sort of the sexy side of it, but it's right next to a highway, it's right next to a power line, it's right next to a labor force. We won't even have to build a camp. It's that simple, and so it's got that infrastructure, and yet it's a long way from people, which is sort of what you want in the mining industry. And it's in a mining state, a mining jurisdiction, and close to that infrastructure. So it's a great location. I think it's all of those things: the good economics, a simple mine, previously disturbed country that's permittable, that attracted Royal Gold after they did 3 or 4 months of due diligence before they invested their $8 million. So yeah, I think that's what brought them in and realized that this should be a mine, and let's move it forward.
Absolutely. And I think when I looked back through the last few years before I invested in the asset or in the company, one thing that really stood out to me was how reliably and quickly you've grown the gold count at the project. So Esperanza South is one part that sort of is the best defined, and it's a coherent sort of spot, and that's what you've got the mine plan on. But you just keep finding more of this kind of gold at surface, and that's part of the exploration program that's going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when I got involved, first off, we sort of recognized that it's not groups of deposits, it's one deposit that was buried and then folded a bit. So once you understand that deposit, the first drill program we did when I took over, we did 400-meter step-out holes. We did 5 holes to give us 2 kilometers of strike every single time we hit. So the rest of it was just infill from there. It's a very reliable type of deposit. And it is one large deposit that we're sort of working on and finding the economical parts of.
Yeah. So you're doing drilling now to keep growing more of the same resource, which is great. And that could give you the opportunity for a different scale down the road when, you actually come to the decisions about what scale of mine to build. A bigger resource gives you options there. There's another component to the exploration program that also deserves comment because it's a pretty exciting possibility. So do you want to explain that side of the exploration effort?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a PaleoPlaza gold, nearly all of the gold was deposited into some various conglomerate horizons. And that's the main target we've been chasing. But we do know that those conglomerates have been intruded in places by a younger granite. And when that granite intrudes, it remobilizes, reconcentrates the gold. So it's that reconcentration of gold that we're chasing. We've hit it sort of on the edges in a couple of spots when the gold sort of little dikes have come up into the conglomerate. Now we want to chase where the main granite cuts through the conglomerate, over several kilometers, and just chase that. And if that is a remobilized, reconcentrated deposit, you're looking at a substantial new deposit on top of everything else we've got. But as you said, that's the exciting. It's a good geological concept. There's hints that it's there, but it's still exploration.
Absolutely. And that the excitement there, the grade opportunity is a lot higher. So the asset right now has an average grade of about 1 gram, right? And if you were, these sorts of exploration targets are multiples of that if they pan out. Absolutely,
yeah. Our PEA actually, once we sort of optimized the pits, it came in closer to 1.5. But yeah, the average resource grade is between 1 and 1.2, and
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of TriStar. There's a lot, you have a lot of balls up in the air right now, right? So you're doing real exploration drilling on these these granite intrusion targets. You're doing more systematic step out drilling to just find more of the same. You're doing some infill drilling to wrap up before publishing a PFS that's going to come out within 6 months. So a lot of things on your plate and a lot of news to come.
Absolutely, it's really busy and it's really good now. Right now, the team are really excited. We've got a full team on site. The rigs are turning up very, very shortly, and that drilling is going to start in the next week or so, and the news flow is going to come from that, and we won't stop then.
Absolutely. So, I like it for a defined value in a rising gold market, an advanced asset with a bunch of exploration splash on top. So thanks for taking the time to take us through the story, Nick, and make sure you keep us all up to date as these months progress.
Will do. Absolutely. Thank you very much.